Hello, Dr. James Bogash, expert in health and longevity, and today we're going to have a conversation about type 1 diabetes, which most of the videos and information that I put out are on type 2, but there are a lot of similarities between type 1 and type 2, mainly the lifestyle that needs to be led. Unfortunately, a lot of type 1 diabetics are not talked about. It's all about adjusting your insulin and not about adjusting your diet, so that you better manage whatever is going on in your body. Instead, we just focus on the insulin, which is not the way. It's an important component, but it's also about the diet and lifestyle and exercise and everything that goes with it. But this particular video today is going to talk about the development of type 1 diabetes. Now, keep in mind that in general, type 1 diabetes, we used to call it juvenile onset. We got rid of that term because if you abuse your body enough, your beta cells of your pancreas that make insulin are going to give out, and you're going to now need you're going to need insulin. You're going to become a type 1 diabetic. But there is a strong autoimmune component to type 1 diabetes as well. You can, as we get older, when type 1 diabetics transfer into when type 2 transfer to type 1, it's more likely that they've beat the hell out of their beta cells and destroyed them because their lifestyle was not ideal for protecting the pancreas. Type 1 is a little bit of a different animal. And there's some autoimmune component where the body starts attacking the beta cells of the pancreas. A couple things to suggest here. First of all, one of the studies I'm going to put in the description has to do with elevated glucose. And they found that elevated glucose started before the autoimmunity did. So that's suggesting that we are somehow damaging the beta cells of the pancreas before the immune system recognizes it. It's an important factor because that means that the diet leading up to the development of type 1 diabetes is critical. We also know that the beta cells of the pancreas cannot protect themselves very much from oxidative stress. So if we're beating it up, if we're having low nutrition, if we're having too high of calories, the rest of our body can protect itself. The beta cells cannot protect themselves from glucose, from sugar overload. So the very cells that we need to protect cannot protect themselves from high sugar. It's a little ironic, but that plays a role. And we're seeing in this particular study that elevated blood sugar may be playing a role in the development of autoimmunity, which makes sense. You damage the beta cells of the pancreas, maybe the immune system comes in and they look at it and now they start to attack it. That's one aspect. The other aspect is it's an abstract paper, but it's a refresh of an article or a study from almost a little over a decade ago, looking at enterovirus infection. So this is another type of viral infection that happens in the GI tract. And there was a very strong relationship between people who had autoimmunity, people who had so you can have autoimmunity to the pancreas, the beta cells of the pancreas, and not have type 1 diabetes. And then you can have full-blown type 1 diabetes where you've lost the ability to control. And they found that the people who had enterovirus after the immune system's a little bit pissed off already, and it's already recognizing we have some immune attack to the beta cells of the pancreas, and now we get an enterovirus infection, and that skyrocketed the risk of somebody progressing to type 1 diabetes. And for me, the author suggests that maybe we should look at vaccination or antiviral approaches, but this still screams vitamin D, which we know that vitamin D plays a strong role in the progression to type 1 diabetes. And we know that vitamin D plays a role in calming our immune response after a viral infection. So all of this fits in, and it means that maintaining good, solid vitamin D levels in our infants and toddlers and children can be of critical importance if they get some other type of viral infection, to make sure that the immune system stops working when it's supposed to stop working, when the virus is defeated. If not, you have a tendency for autoimmunity to develop because it pisses off the immune system and for the viral infections pisses off the immune system, and instead of going away, it now looks around looking for something else to do, and if it happens to find the beta cells of the pancreas, you now have a autoimmunity and a full-blown type 1 diabetes. So just throwing that out there, we have generally considered type 1 diabetes, I think we look at it wrong. We look at it as there's nothing we can do to prevent it. I'm suggesting that the data suggests otherwise, and that our choices don't have anything to do with that, and that is probably not correct based on increasing evidence that we've had. As always, I'll post a link to these 2 particular studies in the description. Make sure you like this video, share it with somebody who you think needs the information, and subscribe to the channel.